Really, New Bedford, 7.9% voter turnout. Really? After all that we've been through this year, Cape Wind takes a dive for the time being. The casino cashes in its chips, and the Olympics takes dead last. And this is all you can muster, 7.9%. The first argument that is going to be given to me, and already has, is that this was just a preliminary election. That doesn't really matter. Is that so? First of all, if it didn't matter, why do we bother having them at all? I'll tell you why. It's the process of elimination. The weakest are separated from the rest of the herd. I understand most of the city could only participate in one facet of the election, but maybe I'm saying that wrong. I'll repeat what I just said. Most of the city could only participate in one facet of the election. Yeah, I am saying that all wrong. Let me remove one word for you. There we go. Okay, right here. Listen carefully. Most of the city could participate in one facet of the election. Took out the word only. Most of you in this city had the opportunity, the privilege for at some point during an 11-hour span to find some time to get to a location made extremely convenient to you so that it can't be more than 2 minutes out of your way. And only 7.9%, less than 5,000 people of the 54,000 some odd registered voters that we have here in the city of New Bedford can spare those 2 to 5 minutes to get to the polls. Pitiful. Another reason why I believe the preliminaries are so important. I refer to one of the fathers of our modern day science, Isaac Newton. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. While this is one of the laws of motion, it has been used as a metaphor since its inception, and I'm not going to spare it that use today. When you start seeing a preliminary election as impractical, as bothersome, as useless, what's to keep you from saying that about the general election? What's to keep you from saying to yourself that your vote didn't count for much then and it won't count for much now? Meanwhile, those of us who still value our own voice will continue to do so. It's amazing even to me that a 24-year-old like myself, and this is not to be braggadocious in any way, a 24-year-old like myself who doesn't own property, doesn't own a business, doesn't have a political agenda when it comes to the city's well-being, can still find a reason to want to make a change in a city that I barely have a stake in. You know why? Because I want this to be a city I want to be able to make a stake in. Nearly every day on this program, somebody will call up and inevitably say something to the effect of their generation. The generation that you belong to are the ones paving the way for future generations. It's said about my generation, too. I hear it all the time. So please, for the concern of future generations that many of you profess to care about, for your children, for your children's children, don't disappoint us on November 3rd. And as for the candidates, you're not getting off scot-free either. Quote, your vote of confidence. Quote, my sincerest thanks. Quote, thank you, New Bedford. Quote, the showing was phenomenal. These are quotes from 4 of your 5 top vote-getters in the council-at-large race. Thanks is fine. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the opportunity. We've heard those too. But you candidates have to realize something. This turnout showed very little support. There was a hell of a lot of missed opportunity for one. It was not a vote of confidence. It was barely a vote. Very little confidence was shown by the public. If confidence had been shown, I would not be making this plea today. So candidates, if there is 1 ounce of sincerity left in your beings, you will join me in expressing your disappointment in the city's enthusiasm, or rather the lack thereof. and call for any and all registered voters to exercise their rights and privileges. I'm not going to give you the old people died for this right routine, but I bet they're rolling in their graves right now by the severe lack of democracy demonstrated today. Yesterday. There aren't too many times I've been ashamed of the city as a whole. Yes, we have isolated incidents, shootings, stabbings, public safety concerns that make me shake my head for a brief moment and then pick up and carry on with the rest of my life. But I can say, with all honesty, that last night and today the shame is very real, and at the risk of returning to my theatrical roots and sounding dramatic, I'm hurting for the city today. You can rest assured, you can bet your ass, these sentiments will be repeated on November 2nd. The day before the general election. I hope you have the balls enough to go out.